Hello, and welcome to this week's installment of Bean Steamers. This week we're going to be discussing briefly, too, it's a short consideration, but we're going to be discussing gum snappers, ice crunchers, and all that other stuff that just drives you crazy. So let's go ahead and get into our discussion this week. I'm glad that we're with Harold the baby Bigfoot and Sammy the hippopotamus with the golden Mickey Mouse ears. Couldn't live without them. They really keep an eye on this place when I'm not here. Well, truth be told, and sometimes it isn't, due to good manners and the desire not to get into a disagreement with someone, the fact is that we absolutely all do something that irritates other people. Now, the smart people figure this out early on, what they do. And for the most part, they refrain from doing it around others. The defiant ones continue to practice whatever it is they do around everyone, convincing themselves that other people don't mind their odd little proclivity. Now, for those with that point of view, here's a reality check. If you snap gum, crunch ice, burp, or a plethora of other nasty things like a fruit smacker, you know what I'm talking about. And you ask your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other if they mind whatever it is that you're doing, and they say that they don't. And here it comes. The truth is, they're lying to you. Sorry, it's the truth. And if you've been married for 25 or 30 years and they say that they haven't minded it for all that time, they have the qualities of a saint. Canonization is definitely in their future. So make no bones about it. They're definitely lying to you, plain and simple. Every one of us does something that drives other people crazy. Yes, even you. However, most people have the good taste to do whatever it is that they do when they're not in the company of others. And this is including your spouse or significant other. Our odd little habit is private, and it's meant for only our own eyes. But there will always be those who continue to think that whatever it is they do doesn't bother others. And that, in and of itself, is bothersome. One thing that has always been amazement to me, for the most part, is people think what they have to say is so important that they say it at that very second. They have to do it, and they say it with a mouthful of food, speaking in a form of their language that is just garbled enough that you have to strain to decipher it. And of course, all the while that they're speaking, small food particles are falling from their open mouths. Did you ever notice that people who do this usually take huge bites of food? There's no dainty eaters here, not these types. Now, a rather strange variation of this habit are the people who take huge bites of food, feel that they have to speak at that very second, and then they add a little twist to it. They raise their hand and they cover their mouth as they speak. Have you ever seen that? Of course, that makes it really hard to hear, and all those at the table are now prevented, thankfully, from seeing a mouthful of food that is half chewed, or is now even more difficult to understand what they're saying because the hand over their mouth, so you can't see the food, is muffling the speech. This dismaying scenario could be totally wiped from the face of the earth like some medieval plague if just two things were practiced. Number one, don't take oversized bites of food. And number two, accept the fact that if you have anything to say, it could be said with just as much effectiveness after you swallow your fine, dainty bite of food. Problem solved. However, the mystifying thing is to me and to virtually 100% of those around them that these people really believe in their hearts that no one minds that they practice their odd little habit in public. And what really gets me, and this has happened to me several times, is I find myself with someone vigorously exercising their natural given right to offend those in their immediate proximity. You get to the point that you think that going postal is the only sane option left. Trust me, by that point in time, you actually do consider this a sane option. You finally just can't take it anymore, and you fall to your knees with your eyes full of tears, and you beg them in the name of all that is human to stop before you get to the point that no court in the land would ever convict you for your actions. And people have gotten to that point. And this is accepting the fact that you were driven to the brink of temporary insanity by whatever it was that they were doing. They respond with some trite verbiage saying that they didn't realize that whatever they were doing was so upsetting to you and that they will stop. Of course, their habit is so ingrained in them that they stop for 5 or 10 minutes and then they return right back to where they left off, not even aware that they are once again driving you completely bonkers, leaving you to think that the only option you have left is to get a concealed carry permit and a Glock 45 auto, firing a warning shot in the range of their general direction to get their attention, hopefully impressing on them how seriously you take this permanent eradication of their actions in your presence. Now, remember, and we're saying this in conclusion, remember there are people who think that they don't do anything to offend others. These are dangerous people. They think enough of themselves that they really believe that they're free from accusation. My advice to you is to avoid people like this, like the plague. They will only bring you heartache, headache, and earache. For the most part, we just have to accept what people do around us, and we're always going to suffer because of it. It's our lot in life. Unless you want to buy a Glock 45. It's not recommended, by the way, but you might get to that point that you think it's the only option. Sometimes it is. Well, that's a very short installment of Bean Steamers this week. We're going to try to keep the installments a little bit shorter than usual. Just a few minutes of enlightening commentary for you to enjoy. If you haven't done so already, and you haven't, I know you haven't, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to this channel. Hit the little bell for all notifications so you can be the first one on your block to get the current installment of Bean Steamers. And I encourage you too, if you have any commentary, there's several ways that I'll see that. You can either leave a comment there on the YouTube channel page, or you can get a hold of me at garbanzostudios@gmail.com. garbanzostudios@gmail.com. Well, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to this week's installment of Bean Steamers. Please continue to check back. There are new videos posted every Friday shortly after midnight Eastern Standard Time. We'd like to thank you for joining us today. Until next week, goodbye.